Hello and welcome to this demonstration of Nipper. I'm Dexter Roberson, the Business Development Executive here at Titania, and we are a world-leading configuration drift analysis for routers, switches, and firewalls. Our aim is to enable NOC and SOC teams around the world to build configuration confidence in their network infrastructure. And with the help of my colleague, James Dean, who is the product owner for Nipper, we're going to spend the next 30 minutes giving you an introduction to Nipper, showing you how quickly you can start assessing your routers, switches, and firewalls to discover any exploitable vulnerabilities or misconfigurations within your network. I'm going to start with a brief intro and then I'll hand over to James for the demo. Then at the end, we'll just go through next steps and licensing. And if you have any questions about anything that we discuss in this demo,
then please get in touch using inquiries@titania.com.
we know that complex networks with perimeter-only defenses are prime targets for threat actors, making the security of all routers, switches, and firewalls a top cyber challenge for network risk owners looking to harden their infrastructure and prevent attacks. And with the attackers like Volt Typhoon targeting routers as well as firewalls, checking all devices within the network is becoming of increasing importance. Organizations are increasingly relying on compliance standards to strengthen their security posture and to protect their networks and supply chains. Failure to assess network infrastructure configurations against trusted risk management frameworks and hardening guidelines makes networks more vulnerable to breaches, as misconfigurations provide threat actors with known pathways to alter configs and scale attacks. Non-compliance with mandated controls can also lead to contract losses, reputational damage, and even lawsuits. So it's imperative that assessors have the capabilities to accurately assess and effectively evidence network security and compliance across routers, switches, and firewalls. With baseline automated security checks mapped to control standards and RMFs to show where to start hardening devices, pass-fail evidence for each network check, and prioritize remediation for the most critical non-compliances. And this is where Nipper comes in. Nipper was developed by Titania as a risk-focused solution for closing your most critical security and compliance gaps with the precision and know-how of the accuracy of a pen tester. We help customers find vulnerabilities and reduce the mean time to remediate them in order to reduce their exposure to critical risks and the time that their network is exposed to those risks. Where vulnerability scanners probe devices over the network, Nipper analyzes the running configuration of the device. Compared to scanners, which can be time intensive, Nipper does not send out lots of network packets. Rather, it only requires a copy of the running device configuration you're assessing. By virtually modeling the device configuration, Nipper analyzes configuration as a single entity to consider interdependencies and suppress irrelevant findings. As a result, Nipper's findings reports are proven to offer unrivaled levels of accuracy, which saves customers thousands of labor hours and provide the granular detail needed to evidence compliance and provide remediation advice for detected vulnerabilities. By virtually modeling device configurations in this way, Nipper can accurately detect vulnerabilities in routers, switches, and firewalls and provide evidence-based compliance reporting for risk management frameworks, including STIGs, NIST SP 853, and PCI DSS 4.0, and exception-based security reporting for CIS benchmarks. We'll show you the examples of the reports and findings shortly, but I just wanted to highlight that Nipper automatically prioritizes findings by security and/or compliance risks to the network, not just the device. It provides risk remediation advice with exact technical fixes for misconfigurations to support and accelerate the process of networks becoming secure and compliant, including in air-gapped environments. Basically, Nipper analyzes configurations with the precision of a pen tester, providing advanced network contextualization that suppresses irrelevant findings to reduce security audit and compliance assessment times by up to 80% when compared to other automated approaches. Nipper delivers the detailed level of network risk analysis required to assess zero trust readiness, ensure networks are effectively segmented, and automate checks that evidence compliance with a range of military, federal, and industry regulations. For internal teams and auditors, this means that you can quickly, easily, and accurately detect network configurations and determine their impact if exploited, the ease of exploitation, and the ease of fix. You'll see in this demonstration how you can view the findings through Nipper's security or compliance lenses to accurately report your posture and prioritize remediation workflow by risk criticality. And for external assessors and pen testers, using Nipper means that you can significantly reduce the time spent auditing routers, switches, and firewalls against industry and regulatory compliance standards by automating the in-depth configuration assessment analysis and recommendation reporting, which can be white labeled for your branding. NIPA's time-saving advantage means that customers have been able to increase the cadence and/or scope of their audits to improve their network security and/or compliance posture. Where some customers previously only had the capacity to audit firewalls or maybe a sample of their firewalls, NIPA has provided automation gains that means now they can regularly audit routers, switches, and firewalls and able to assess the security and/or compliance posture of their entire fleet of network devices. As organizations are mandated and regulatory compliance needs have evolved over the years, Titanium has ensured that NIPA's reports are closely mapped to these data security requirements, as evidenced in regard to the PCI DSS by this statement from one of our customers. And finally, so on to the demonstration where I will now hand over to James.
NIPA is a downloadable application which is installed on a local machine, enabling deployment in air-gapped environments and offline networks. As such, it started in the same way as any other application that you're already familiar with. Click on the shortcut and you'll open the application. Once the application starts, you'll find yourself on this home page. This is made up of three sections: the top menu bar, the information panel on the left, and the main actions window on the right. Let's start on the left. Firstly, the information panel provides general information about the resources used by NIPA. This is updated every time the program starts and details the number of device plugins in the current version. As well as the plugins, the protocol services and RPC programs are network resources updated from the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, otherwise known as IANA, which is a global coordination of DNS route, IP addressing, and other Internet protocol resources. Resources is all files such as STIG benchmarks, password dictionaries, help images, etc., which are all utilized by NIPA. Finally, vulnerabilities is the total number of NVD vulnerabilities from the NVD resource files which have been updated. As new resources such as updated STIGs are added and existing resources such as NVD files are updated, this information is also updated to reflect these changes. Updates naturally tells you when the system was last updated and allows you to check for updates manually. And the license section clearly shows details of the current license associated with this installation of NIPA, and the version of NIPA currently being run is displayed at the foot of the window. The main actions window has shortcuts to the most frequently used functionality. New Report allows the user to select device configurations and generate reports highlighting passes, failures, and/or vulnerabilities identified on a network device. Audit Sites allows the user to be able to define site enclave or organization specific information, enabling NIPA to remember key details around specific site and devices, such as whether devices are connected to a specific network. Audit Scopes provides the user with the ability to define the scope of the audit, for example, which IP addresses to include or exclude, as well as which reports or report sections to include. Settings allows the user to configure certain features of NIPA, tailoring the experience to their specific requirements, and licensing provides you with the ability to manage your NIPA licenses, as well as view license usage and add new ones. NIPA's standout feature is its robust security and compliance reporting functionality, which enables customers to assess their adherence to industry standards and regulatory requirements, including DISA RMF, NIST SP 853, DISA STIG, and PCI DSS 4.0. Compliance findings are provided with evidence of passes and fails, and configuration changes between audits can be tracked with ease to aid further investigation into whether the drift was accidental or deliberate. To audit a device and create a report from the home page, select New Report or File New Report, which then opens the New Report wizard. You then have several options. Selecting Config File allows you to navigate to the location on your computer where the required configuration file is stored. Once the config is selected, you will then be returned to the Add Devices screen and your configuration file will be displayed in the window. NIPA automatically detects the device type from the configuration file. You're able to add multiple device configuration files should you wish. Config dir allows you to navigate to the location on your computer where the required configuration directory is stored, allowing you to add multiple files quickly and easily. Again, once selected, you'll return to the Add Devices screen and all selected configurations will be displayed. Remote Device will allow you to add the configuration file of supported devices remotely. Simply add the device type and credentials of the device you wish to audit, and NIPA will connect to the device and automatically extract the configuration. Under Remote List, there are three options. Import from Nmap XML and import from CSV will enable you to add multiple devices via an XML input or CSV input respectively. Export to CSV generates a CSV from the networks that are available in the format that can be re-imported using import from CSV. You can use a combination of these methods to add multiple configuration files, and these are all displayed in the main window. Adding multiple devices will generate a single multi-device report. Adjacent to each device, you will find the edit icon and the remove icon. Naturally, the remove icon allows you to remove a device from the list. Should you wish to manually change the device type NIPR identified from the configuration file, the edit icon allows you to do so. Clicking the icon displays a drop-down list of devices supported by NIPR from which you can choose the device you want. Please note, however, that if this is altered from the device type identified by NIPR from the config file, audit findings may not be 100% accurate. But for a full list of supported vendors, please visit our website. Once you've added all the devices you wish to audit and modified them as required, clicking Next in the new report wizard will take you to the Selected Reports menu. As you can see, the different available report types are listed with a brief description of what each report contains, and the report available to you will depend on the license you have purchased. Each report has a checkbox which determines whether it will be included in your final report, and multiple reports types can be selected. There is also a settings button for selecting advanced options for each report, and these settings can also be managed from the settings page accessed from the home screen. For this demonstration, we'll run a best practice security report which automates configuration checks to report exceptions that fail to adhere to vendor hardening guides and network infrastructure hardening best practices. If you would like to see any of the other reports, please do request a trial through our website. Once you've chosen your reports, you will then have the option to include a comparison against a previous report. The findings from the previous report will be displayed in the newly created report, allowing you to quickly and easily track any changes since the last assessment. Simply navigate to the location on your computer where the previous report is stored, select it and click Next. The report is then generated, often extremely quickly, as you can see, although it can take longer depending on what options are selected. This can be achieved as NIPR virtually models the configuration rather than impacting the actual device, meaning that results are returned more quickly and crucially minimizes network disruption. To open the report, simply click Finish. The report is opened in a new tab in NIPR with the contents of the report displayed in the main section. The summary displays what was audited, along with the executive summary and an overview of identified exploitable vulnerabilities. These findings are presented in prioritized order for remediation. Prioritization of remediation actions requires an understanding of how critical the risk is to the network, what the likelihood is that it can be exploited, and how long repair or remediation efforts might take. This is why in NIPR's best practice security audit, every vulnerability or misconfiguration identified is rated on the impact to the network, the ease of exploitation, and the fix rating, which highlights the effort and resources required to remediate the issue. A misconfiguration that could severely impact network security if exploited and has a quick fix will be categorized by NIPR as critical and should be made a priority for remediation over those that have more involved fixes and lower impact. NIPR's rating system allows for this prioritization to take place quickly and effectively, ensuring that those responsible for the network have the information they need to plan remediation efforts. Every moment a critical vulnerability exists on a device means more risk that the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of systems, applications, and data could be compromised. Insufficient resources can make rectifying all identified vulnerabilities in a timely fashion difficult, which is why prioritization is such an essential part of this process. Therefore, for each issue that NIPR detects, an overall rating is given which highlights what the impact is, how easy it is to exploit, and how quickly it can be remediated. This allows for effective prioritization of remediation efforts and can reduce not only the security team's mean time to detect misconfigurations and vulnerabilities, but also equips network teams to reduce the mean time to remediate for the most critical vulnerabilities. Each vulnerability is detailed with the report, giving comprehensive information. Details of what NIPR assessed and why are presented along with the findings specific to each device. Further, details of the potential impact of this vulnerability and the ease with which it could be exploited are given, allowing all audiences to clearly understand the implications of this vulnerability. Another key issue is understanding what is needed to remediate vulnerabilities that have been detected, which is why recommendations for how to remediate the issue are provided. For some devices, this includes exact fixes with command line instructions that could be used to resolve the issue. Once remediation work is complete, you can use NIPR to check that the vulnerability no longer exists. Further to the individual recommendations, a full summary of recommendations is also included in the report, which collates them into a single location to provide a guide to planning mitigation efforts. Additionally, the report also includes mitigation classification. Now, this section allows for further prioritization of remediation efforts by grouping findings by the perceived complexity of the resolution. With the findings summarized in this way, teams can use this to plan actions to help reduce mean time to remediation and ensure issues are addressed as efficiently as possible, improving overall security posture while minimizing any disruption. The report browser on the right allows you to navigate audit reports with ease using a content tree. Simply clicking on the section you wish to go to will navigate you directly there. In addition to being able to click to a particular section of the report, you can also add notes. Simply select the section you wish to annotate, click on Notes, and add the note in the upcoming wizard. Clicking OK saves the note to the report, and then regenerating makes it display. As you can see, it fits in seamlessly into the existing report. Notes can be managed at any time by simply going to Report and Notes, and this will bring up all notes that have been saved to this report. The report browser further allows you to tailor the findings contained in the report. Should you wish to exclude a finding, simply highlighting it in the content tree and clicking Exclude will allow you to remove the finding from the report, as well as any subsequent reports should you wish. As with notes, these exclusions can be maintained at any time. Finally, reports can be saved in a variety of formats, allowing you to make use of them and the data they contain in a way that is best suited to your requirements. The settings section contains a number of configuration options, allowing you to tailor NIPR to your requirements. These include, but are not limited to, accessibility options, report-specific options, and ratings options. One of the most powerful settings groups is the audit policy section. This allows you to tailor the parameters NIPR uses to check a wide range of rules, allowing you to ensure network checks reflect organizational policies and risk profile. And these include things such as options for passwords, authentication, and logging. Audit sites allows you to group settings that will be used for a specific purpose, for example, auditing a specific site. By configuring the settings to a specific site or enclave, the audits and resulting report can be tailored quickly and easily, ensuring consistent results when running ongoing assessments and helping to reduce time and effort for auditing. Similarly, audit scopes allow you to define the scope of your audit to a specific set or range of IP addresses. For example, allowing you to focus in on rules that interact with a particular zone, as well as tailoring the content of your resulting reports. By configuring and applying an audit scope and consequently removing inapplicable information in the final report, the relevance of NIPR reports when auditing network devices which serve several different purposes is vastly improved. That concludes this introduction demonstration. I hope you found it useful, and back to Dexter.
Thanks for that demo, James. So what's next? Firstly, I would just like to briefly mention our other solution, NIPR Enterprise. This builds on NIPR to provide continuous security and compliance assurance at scale. Network owners use NIPR Enterprise to increase the coverage and cadence of assessments, evidence continuous compliance with military and industry regulations, and minimize their attack surface via MITRE ATT&CK misconfiguration prioritization. And if you'd like any more details or information on this, then please do visit our website to get all the details, and our dedicated team can reach out to you. Now, back to Nipper. I just wanted to briefly touch on supported devices. We did mention this in the demo, but we support all major device vendors as shown on the screen. And we have a roadmap of development to ensure that we cover the latest manufacturer recommendation operating systems. So do check the website for the latest updates, or if you do want specific details on Nipper's support for vendor products, models, and versions, please do get in touch. Also, if there is a specific device that you want to test, you can try it out for yourself by requesting a free trial through our website. Just simply visit titania.com/try. Here you can sign up and try Nipper's accurate assessment capabilities on 2 of your own device configurations, free for 30 days. If you'd like to move straight on to buying a license for Nipper, it is a license per device, and the software can be downloaded and used as many times as you like by multiple users, with unlimited re-audits of devices over the length of your subscription or contract. Installing and activating Nipper on multiple workstations allows multiple users to access the license to audit devices across different teams, departments, or locations as required. It's not limited by the number of users, and if you were to buy a multi-year license, then the device count would simply reset after 12 months. Chosen by over 30 federal agencies, the US Department of Defense, and global multinational organizations, Nipper is the risk-focused solution for closing your most critical security and compliance gaps. Please do visit www.titania.com/contact us to request a quote. Thank you for everyone's time, and if you do have any more questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch via the website.